Welcome back. 2001 Buick Park Avenue. Making a pretty bad noise when the AC compressor is not on, and when the AC compressor turns on, noise goes away. That's pretty indicative of the AC clutch bearing. So we're gonna do a little digging here, see if we can figure out that's exactly what it is, and replace the bearing in this AC clutch. We've got the passenger side wheel off. We're gonna go in through here. Through the wheel well. I believe that's probably the best way to get at this front of this AC compressor. Just got a couple push pins to pull out. Screw them on back out. We'll get that in a minute. I'm going to go pull the serpentine belt off of this. Just going to do an idler pulley here, tensioner pulley I should say, 15 millimeter. I'll release this tension on this belt, or at least try to get it in the right position here, so I'm not in my own way. There we go. Just be careful when you do that, you don't pinch your hands in there. The belt loose. I'm just going to take that off and set it aside for right now. I'll look at it the way it goes in there first. Alright, pretty simple. Not very complicated at all. Just pull it out. Now you take this off, keep it in the same direction. When you put it back on, it'll squeal on you. Make noise. It can squeal on you. Well, might not, but much more. Whoa! Knocked you over there. Much more likelihood that you'll get a squeal out of it. Yeah. Just knocking you all over the place here. Just trying not to do that. Alright, there's my belt. Goes this way with this light right across the top here. Leave it. Got a wobble extension. I do not know if I'm going to be able to get on this. I may have to just drop this compressor down to do it. We'll see. I'll get the socket on there. I don't know if I can get it off. We'll see. I got a 3/8 socket. Alright, obviously came off and rolled away from me, so now oh, there it is. I don't want to lose that. There you go. Okay, so I've got the remover screwed in to the hub here, and there's no way that I can get the bolt in there to push this off. This is right in the way, so I'm going to have to actually drop the, unbolt the compressor and drop it down a little bit, not a lot. Excuse me, just to get clearance so I can get in here with this bolt. I'm going to show you. So this bolt has to go in there and push it out, and I just, less than a 1/4 inch, but I can't get it in there. So I've unbolted the compressor. There's 3 nuts in the front, face the front, or the wheel well side, and up top in the back there's 1 bolt. Took all them out. There's an electrical connector to the clutch. I disconnected that electrical connector. You can't see it, but it's up in there, just so it doesn't pull on it. And now I dropped it down enough that I can put the puller on it. I'll just screw that in. We'll put the centerpiece in here. I gotta get the right one. It's not the right one, obviously. There's a couple different variations of this, so I just want to just show you first. I didn't really talk about it, so I took that nut off initially. I'm going to push against this basically while it's holding the front of the clutch, and it will pull that clutch off of there. Okay. Turn that in there. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit of oil on that. It's dry. I don't want it dry. Alright, oil. I'll have oil on there. I don't need a lot, but it's always a good idea. I got a little bit too much on there, but it's not going to hurt it. Alright, so now I've got to hold that inner and turn the outer here. I'm not even going to try to find the right size. Just going to put a crescent wrench on it to hold it. this will pull it off here. There we go. Break it loose and should pull it right off. There it comes. There it is. So, there we go. This is twice in 2 days I've needed a bigger pair of snap ring pliers. They're kind of moving up on my list here of tools. It's not the right size, and it's making it a little difficult to get it off of there. Now we're going to start over. I'm just going to try to tap on this end, right by the camera too. There it goes. Just had to knock it loose. There it is. I've got a 3-jaw puller on here because I couldn't just break it loose. There's nothing holding on, it's just tension, so you can watch that center, you'll see it's pulling off. There's room, you just got to be careful with it. It should just come right off of there. Pretty much, yep. Alright, just push everything back now. Get it out of here. Nope. Knocked it right over. Get that off the face of it. Get that back. There we go. Okay, I've got my 3-jaw puller on this coil now. I'm going to pull this coil because I have to replace the whole clutch, which comes with a new coil. It's a press fit, the GM, so it should be able to get it off of here and just pull it forward. We'll see how this goes, or if I just make a bigger mess. Well, hopefully not. It is coming off. There it goes. So these are GM. This particular one's a press fit, obviously. So a little bit of a pain, but it does come off of there. Came right off. There's a 3-jaw puller behind it. I have a new one of these. Nothing wrong with this one as far as I know. The AC works, so there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to go to the trouble of replacing this clutch. Then we're going to replace the coil as well. All right, so I've got this just started on here. I've got my connector lined up where it should be, and I'm going to use a screwdriver. If you have a ball joint cup that fits down in this groove, you can use that at a puller or an installer to actually pull that back on. I don't have one quite the right size. One's too big and one's a little too small. So I'm just going in this groove, making sure to be careful around the ceramic, and I'm just tapping it, but don't wail on it. Just tap it back on. It'll go back on. Just keep working it on until it goes all the way in. All right, put some spacers in there. Give me a little more room. Got it turned in now. Let me pull that in further. All right, go again. I mean, there is nothing thrilling about this at all, to tell you the truth. I'm just going to keep working it in, and I'll come back when it's in. Should pull it in pretty easily. And it is. I can see it moving every time I turn. I can see it being pulled in. It's just got a ways to go, so I can't turn it by hand because it's not that easy, but it is going in very easy. You can rent this kit, this puller installer kit, and most auto parts stores will loan it to you, and they'll give you the deposit back when you take it back. So I just wanted to show you the final setup I used for this, which is one of my race bearing press, for pressing in bearings. What you can't do is you can't have something that's going to hit this, the inner hub, because you've got to push it past that into that groove that's down in here where the snap ring goes. So you've got to have something that either sits on this outer edge of this bearing. You don't want it to sit on the inner, or actually no. You do want it to sit on the inner. If you have something that small that can sit on the inner, it'd be ideal. But you don't want to push on the middle of the bearing. Ideally, you'd want something just big enough to push on this inner race on that bearing, because that's what's being press fit on. I don't have something like that. I don't have something exactly that size, so I have to use this. which is big enough to catch the hub, catch the pulley. Hub, it's the pulley. And I use that, and it will pull it on. I prefer to, like I said, I prefer to have something the exact size of that inner race on that bearing. That's the best way to do this. I just don't have it. I just don't have something that's exactly that size. If I had maybe a master ball joint kit, I would find one the right size and use that. But this worked fine. And I'm just about done. I'm just pushing in a little bit more, and just moved. I could feel it seat, which is what I want. And I'm pretty sure I'm past that snap ring groove now. This is where I want to be. So I can get the snap ring in there. Just loosen this up now. Check it out. See what we got. So I used something to push it till it was right even with the face of this, and then I had to switch to this because it has to be indented. But I'm on that snap ring groove. Looks good. And I believe I should be able to get that snap ring in there right now. So I had to push this on with the installer, put my snap ring in place, but this was a little tight. It was binding a little bit. So after I got the snap ring in place, I put my 3-jaw puller back on here and just pulled it a little bit, and it kind of popped. You could feel it kind of pop against the snap ring, and that freed it up, and that's what I had to do. You may have to do the same. You don't want this binding. You want it nice and loose in here. Not loose, but you don't want it hitting against the coil, basically, and that's all I had to do. And now it's in place, and now we're going to put the clutch back on. Getting ready to put the clutch on now. This keyway, the new clutch did not come with the new key. You take the key from the old one, which is right here, and I slid it back into keyway. And then there's a keyway, matching keyway on the clutch. You have to line it up. So I just put mine straight up just to make it easier to line everything up. Not whacking it hard, just tapping it. Sometimes it just goes that way. All right, let's screw that on. Now let's try it. Let's see what we get here. That'll work a little better. Light back for you. Try to give you as much light as I can here. Let's see what's going on. Okay. We'll just turn it on. Right end of the wrench. Only one of those days, huh? Make sure we get it started correctly here. Should go in there pretty easy if you have it lined up correctly. All right, feel the gauge here. It's a 30 thousandths. It's still a little loose, which I kind of wanted. I want to pull it down to it. So. Still a little loose. It's getting close though. Almost there. There we go. That's about 30 thousandths. It's just got a little bit of drag on it. That's what I want. So that's where we want it to be. There's a little bit of gap there, which is what you want. I'll back that off. Alright, now you've got that nut that goes on the end of there. Took off originally. Don't forget that. So this is an aircraft nut. So if you can see on that side, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see there's a little indent, a rectangular indent. That's an well, I don't know if that's a technical name. I always call them aircraft nuts. I think that's the name. It's a little misshapen, a little distorted, so it will not vibrate off of there. So we need to put that back on. You don't want to crush it. It's not going to come off of there. That's why they're made like that. They won't vibrate off. You just want to snug it up. and it's going to want to spin it, so you kind of have to hold it. I might have to. Snug it up. Doesn't take a lot. Okay. I'll check my gap one more time, make sure it didn't move, make sure I'm still good. 30 thousandths. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty good, 30 thousandths. Okay, that's it, it's done. So now, I'm just gonna push this back up onto the 3 front studs and put those 3 nuts back on, and the 1 bolt at the top back, gotta go underneath to do that. Nothing exciting there. And put the serpentine belt back on and we're done. I got my serpentine belt back on. Don't forget your electrical connector down here. See if I can show it to you here. On the coil, right down there. You gotta plug that back in, so don't forget that. Do it from the front, it'd be easier, but I'm trying to stay out of your way. Fight with this for probably an hour now. I can't get my hand in there. Only goes one way. Clips in. Don't forget that or it won't work. That's it. I'm going to start it up. Make sure everything's okay. I do have to put my inner fender, inner wheel well cover back on, but I'll do that. Just a couple clips. That's pretty much it. Let's start this up. Well, that's it. AC compressor clutch. Couple things I want to show you. I learned on the way that this inner, this is the back, this is the actual pulley. The back has a ring, metal ring, which pushes against the metal ring of the coil, which goes on first. Unless you have like a ball joint press cup that fits right in that groove, right inside the ceramic part, where you can just press it on. I had to tap this on, go around and tap it on with a screwdriver. Once you get it most of the way on, you can use the pulley, because these 2 surfaces will meet each other and press it on the rest of the way. I had like maybe a 1/16 of an inch I had to press it on. And then when you press this pulley on, it's going to press that coil all the way back onto the compressor. Make sure you line this electrical connector up where you took it off. It needs to be on the same spot. If you have a socket or a ball joint press, cup that's just big enough to go around the hub, and you can get it on this inner race when you're pushing the new pulley on, that's the best way. I did not have that. I used a washer and a press to press it flush with that hub, and then I had a bigger plate you saw earlier that pressed on the actual hub to finish pressing it on. You press that on there, it's going to be up against that metal ring that I pointed out earlier in the coil, and it's not going to want to turn very much. So what I did was put the snap ring in on the center hub, and then put the 3-jaw puller, and then pull this back towards the front of the compressor, and you'll feel it, and you actually hear it. I heard it come up against the snap ring, against the back of the snap ring. That gives you the clearance, and then this can turn, the pulley can turn freely. You want to make sure that it turns freely. Then it's just a matter of pressing the actual clutch on there, setting the air gap at 30 thousandths for this car. I set it at 30. I did run it. No horrendous noise when it's not on now, which is good. And I turned the AC on, and the clutch engaged, and it worked fine. So a little bit of a pain, but You know, I was going to originally just replace this bearing because I knew that's what was making all the noise. But if you look at this and how beat up it is, and the clutch looks the same, it's just torn up at 190,000 miles. It's really not worth messing with because you're going to have problems probably with it anyway. So if you have to do this for your vehicle, I hope it helps you out. If you like the videos, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.